into your house and is living there.
Yeah, it's called squatting. New York law says you can't just kick the squatter out of your house, and it's become such a huge problem. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want something done. Tonight, meet a couple who just bought a house but can't move in.
There's garbage everywhere, right? Holes in the wall.
Zach Alford has had enough, and the trash littering the floor of his new home isn't the half of it.
There's no doubt that's a drug bag.
It's just some of what Zach believes is drug paraphernalia that he found throughout the house. But even more troubling is the damage to the house, Jack says he finds daily.
These two holes right here, this one and that one, are new.
Damage from floor to ceiling, and there's little he can do about it. That's because this man, Michael Priestley, is living in Zach's new house. Public records indicate Priestley has a lengthy list of felony convictions over the last 2 decades, including assault, drugs, forgery, and promoting sexual performance by a child. That one landed him on the sex offender registry, level 2. Priestley is living in Zach's house rent-free, and the law allows it.
Nothing I can do. When he destroys the inside of the house, there's still nothing I can do. Every cop tells me that it's civil.
That means Zach has to take the case to court, file an eviction order, and wait for a hearing. It's all especially painful for Zach because this was once his grandparents' house. It was passed down to his uncle in 2016, and Zach's dad, Bob Alford, lived here. Zach recounts when his dad was contacted by a friend, Michael Priestley.
He came to him and was, crying, I have nowhere to go, I have nowhere to go. And my dad, felt sorry for him, so he said, yeah, hey, you come here and stay for a few nights.
That was in November, but a few nights turned into a few weeks. And according to Zach, Bob was ready to kick Priestley to the curb, but he didn't get the chance. Bob Alford died in a car crash on December 3rd. Winter turned to spring, spring turned to summer, and Mike Priestley is still living in that house.
I knew that this house had tax issues, so I contacted my uncle and said, hey, if I pay the taxes, can we work out a deal? And sure enough, he said yes.
Zach and his wife scraped together more than $13,000 to pay the back taxes, and his uncle signed the deed over to Zach.
Now it's my property, so now I'm stuck with this squatter.
Is this Mike Priestley? But in a lengthy phone call with Priestley, he told me he's not a squatter, insisting that at one time he did pay rent, and he has the receipts to prove it. If you have receipts for the rent, just take a picture of it and text it to me. He can't, he told me. He left the receipts at his mother's house. So you're too busy to go to your mother's house and take pictures of the receipts. And that drug paraphernalia our cameras captured in the house? Priestley said he's never seen it and accused Zach of putting it there.
We have to ask the question, is this individual a squatter? And it seems like there is some conflict there, and the judge will have to make that determination.
Assemblymember Jake Blumenkranz is sponsoring legislation that would protect property owners from squatters. Part of his measure was adopted in the legislature's budget bill passed in April.
What we've done here is make it as clear as possible who is and who is not a squatter, and that judge can very simply make that determination. In the past, there was no term squatter within New York state laws.
Which meant that anyone who lived in a home for 30 days, even if they broke in, could claim residency and had to be afforded all the protections of a tenant. Evicting a squatter could take years. Now New York law makes clear that squatters are not tenants, and the eviction process should be much faster. Under the new law, a squatter is defined as a person who enters a property without permission and continues to occupy that property without permission. But here's where the case gets tricky. All agree that Priestley initially had permission when he moved in. And even if he never paid rent, he has established residency. Therefore, under New York law, he's not trespassing. And here's the irony. Mike Priestley's criminal past helped him establish residency. He listed Bob Alford's address as his own on the New York Sex Offender Registry.
That's great.
As for Zach, he's languishing in legal limbo.
We have our first house, and to not be able to go in there, to not be able to bring the kids in there, to not be able to have them see their rooms, to be able to choose their colors.
But that will have to wait, because for now, Zachary Alford is a homeowner without a home. Now, Republican New York Assemblymember Jake Blumenkrantz says, as well as some Democrats, have introduced bills making squatting a form of trespassing. Calling squatting a crime would allow police to remove them from the property immediately. Until then, homeowners and landlords have to take the matter to civil court, hoping that the wheels of justice move quickly.
Looking ahead to the Gary Biker